What's up, guys? It's Nick over here at D Lights. Just want to give you guys a overview or a behind the scenes of what makes my show run. Um, just sitting there over 7,000 pixel lights to make up our Halloween show. Um, that's including the Matrix over there. So anyway, we're just gonna walk through all the controllers and whatnot that makes this thing run. Basically, the makeup of the show really is split into two halves here, kind of split by the driveway. I have everything kind of separated, so I don't have a whole lot of wires that have to span both sides of the house. So we run a mix of 12 and 5 volt pixels. Kind of started out my journey into this whole pixel lights with 5 volt when I first started out with the outlines of the house. Didn't really run a synchronized show then, but was just using a software called WLED. So we're gonna go over here to basically the brains of the whole operation here. I have these ammo boxes here that I got off of Amazon. I built. Keeps the water out of the electronics and whatnot. But this is a Culp K8 controller in this box here. So I got it pretty much wired fully. It's got 8 local ports here on the K8. And then I ran an expansion over here to this 16 local ports, just to give me room to expand later on as the show grows. But what all we got in here, this Culp K8, it's running a software called FPP, and it's basically the show player. It keeps all my music and the basically the code that tells the lights what to do to go blinky flashy. So we got it ventilated in here. It's a fan blowing the hot air out, venting out, and then it's letting cool air into the box here. And this is a 5 volt box. It's got a 600 watt Meanwell power supply in it, and that's what supplies the DC power to the units here. Then we also have some these look like Ethernet ports, and that's really what they are, but they run data out to basically satellite units called differential receivers, and basically it lets you expand the ports out to other places in the show, so I could run props and stuff at different places, and they don't have to be centralized locally to these local ports here on the board. But that's basically that box there, and this box here is one of those differential receivers. And the reason why it's here and so close is because I have some of those 12 volt props that have to be run. Don't really want to open this guy up just because it has to be unscrewed and whatnot, but I'll show you one of those receivers here, and another one of those boxes a little bit more accessible. But basically this allows me to run those 12 volt props as opposed to the 5 volt props that have to be locally here on this. Basically the main box, what it's doing here is running power and the data over to all my trees there in the show. And the trees have little skulls on the top, and those are all 5 volt wired. And those are some props from last year that I incorporated into the Halloween show. And then down here, the 12 volt is sending power over to those arches. The arches are all 12 volt LED strip, and they're basically daisy chained down all the way to just the start of the driveway over there. In here to the garage, we got another set of equipment, controller, and differential receiver set up here. So, and again, that big ammo box down here, we have another K8. That K8 has an expansion as well on it, but I went a different route with this one, and I put a differential receiver expansion. And so what that does is instead of more local ports, I kind of wanted to have the flexibility to have more differential receivers where I could, again, spread those ports out to different spots on the yard or on the house. Right now, I don't really have anything running on the expansion, but again, in the future, if I wanted to, add more things, I have that flexibility. We are just running 4 off the main K8 right now, 4 differential receivers. And then this guy, the K8 on the local ports, we're running the house, all the eaves, the outlines of the house, the original stuff. You look over here, kind of this is my original setup before I got into the whole synchronization of the lights and running that program we call X-Lights that does all the programming and packaging of the sequences to give that these players an FPP something to play. But this was just running WLED. This is a Dig Quad, so it's a 4-port. Mainly it actually has a hidden 5th port, but when I'm not in season, for your 4th of July's and whatnot, where I'm not doing full-on song sequences, I'll run all of my my house outlines off of that guy. As you can see, again, 5-volt power supply, again, where I started out. So basically, I just took all those cables off of here and ran them into the K8. This actually is a very capable board that I could run the show data off of it, but with this right now, it only goes through Wi-Fi, and just with my coverage right now, I had some issues running that. But in the future, I may switch to an Ethernet, what's called a ESP32 hat on top of this guy, which will make it even easier to not even have to pull the lights off of that guy and run it straight off of here, and not having to move my cables over. But for now, this works really well. No hiccups, keeps everything in sync very well with that FPP multi-sync. So it's just, again, not sending the full show data over to here. All it's doing is sending timing packets and telling, hey, I started the first song, I'm on the first song, what time are you at? You're at 1 minute, I'm at 1 minute, and just keeps the show flowing and all in the sync, so everything looks great. So over here, this is the differential receiver that runs my matrix here and on the garage. I'll take you around here to the front, but again, that's one of those differential receivers. I'm actually running 6 for the entire show. Off the garage K8, there's 3 coming off of that guy, and then off the main FPP or K8, I'm running 3 as well there. But anyway, my matrix here, this is what I came up with this year, and it's worked okay. Again, for as far as the show wise, it looks great. I'm happy with it. I'm actually going with 3-inch spacing on it. You're not here. It's not gonna, show a video on it, but a lot of the effects and images and stuff on it look pretty good on it. For my main viewing area, the further back, the better it looks. But this is actually made up of 1,449 pixels. They're all 5-volt. It's been a little bit of a chore getting it all up and running and all the power injection, but once it all was said and done, it's kind of a project that honestly took me about 2 seasons to really get up and running. Wanted to have it last Christmas, but it wasn't in the cards to get that all set up. The first year was kind of a whirlwind, kind of getting it all set up, but it's up now, and it's ready for the Halloween season, and we'll continue on through the Christmas season. So I'm up here on the roof to show you guys one of the differential receivers. This one's pretty unique in that it has 5 and 12 volt coming out of it. So we got a 12 volt power supply powering everything, but then we have a buck converter here stepping the 12 volt down to 5 volt. And then I have this power distribution board which can take 2 different voltages. So this half over here is the 5 volt, and the other half coming straight from the 12 volt power supply supplies 12 volt to all my power injection over here. So this box is, like I say, a little bit unique. And then we have one of the differential receivers here with 4 ports coming out of it, sending data and power to my props here on this half of the house. And this also powers the spiders up here on the window. But built all these boxes myself. Got one of the backer plates here from Wired Watts that lets you mount everything to the board. And then went ahead and wired in a 12 volt fan here that ventilates the stuff here. Don't have to worry about it so much during Christmas time, but here in October it's still pretty warm here in Georgia. So we got the air being vented out, all the hot air out, and then sucking cool air in at the bottom. And this thing's been treating me pretty well. Nice and dry inside up here on the roof. As we move from the front of the display over to the left side of the house, these props right here in the direct front of the house, we come to this TV here. Basically, in the hobby, they call this a virtual matrix. So it lets you basically push images and effects over to the screen. And what runs that is a Raspberry Pi, very cool little single board computer that can receive the data from my my FPP player over there, the main player, basically over the internet. It's wireless, and it's able to receive that data, and it's got the sequences basically preloaded already on the device itself. It's not having to have all the data pushed over Wi-Fi. It's just got everything saved on it, and it's just basically staying in synchronous or staying in time with the main player. And I basically built this waterproof box here. This is a PVC material that it's built around, and just caulked some plexiglass onto the front of that. And it's worked out very well, kept the rain out. I followed a basic design from Steve Nye, and his design really works out well. Then we move over to these tombstones. These tombstones are running off one of those differential receivers, like I call it, like those satellite controllers. They're very basic little single boards, and they are able to push that port data out over to the props. And this is one of them right here. So it's here's a differential receiver right here, and over here is the power distribution board. A lot of people's displays, they don't run power distribution, but in my early start, kind of out of necessity with 5 volt, you end up having to do it a lot. With the setup that I currently run, I have to put power in at certain places. Kind of one of the shortcomings or things you have to deal with you deal with 5 volt pixels. But anyway, basically comes over Ethernet data into this little board, and then it has these 4 ports here that send data out to my individual props that are connected to them. So there's one for my tombstones. They run some of my vertical matrices over here. you know, my window outlines, those bats here on the front of the house. And you know, these work out very well, so I don't have to run all those individual, these like black cables that are sending power and data. They're short runs to all the props here. They don't have to come all the way from the front, you know, where my main controller is. So these basically just carry that data here and then disperses it out, you know, over here. And then it has an individual power supply here. In this case, it's a 12-volt power supply that'll send that power and everything into the board to all those props. So over here on the right side of the yard and on the other side of the driveway, we have another one of those remote receiver boxes. All my boxes I kind of wired up for expansion. All those cables there with the red tape on them, they're just power injection, so I can add power to, you know, props if needed. You just kind of never know until you get everything out and set up in the yard if you're really going to need it. Because as you know, all the elements kind of change on, you know, your cable lengths, all that stuff kind of makes a difference on if you're going to need power and how close it is to the main box. But again, another one of those receivers here just allows me to run everything here on the right side of the yard here without having to run cables spanning over the driveway. Had to do that in the past with the Christmas display in the first year, which still worked out and we made it work, but kind of like this setup here, a little bit cleaner in my opinion for running things. But this right here is just a ammo crate from Harbor Freight. Very inexpensive. You can find them on sale a lot of times there, and very popular in the hobby. These crates can be used for a lot of things. People do, and it's done a great job here in keeping the water out. Again, I ventilated it and everything. Don't know if I necessarily really need it, but you know, you never know. You know, we can have unseasonably warm falls here. You can see down in there, everything's nice and dry. Got a HP power supply here, 12 volt. So that's packs a lot of power and an inexpensive package there. You can get those. I got mine, have 2 of them from eBay, and it's got another one of those little receivers down in there, and on the other side got a power distribution board here. There's just a couple of props that I added special to the show. We got these lights here. They're called RBLs, are real big lights. Looked for them for a while. They sold at Home Depot. Tried to find them on clearance, but you know, a lot of people just kind of cleared them out. You couldn't find them anywhere, so I was kind of looked, and I ended up finding a file online where you can print them off of a 3D printer, and kind of got down that rabbit hole, and they turned out really nice. Basically, there's like 5 LEDs individually in each one of them. So it kind of makes it, gives it a bright light. If you just had one in there, it wouldn't be very bright. And they turned out really good. All those 5 lights just light up at the same time, same color. So when you run those effects, it shows up really good. And another new prop we added this year was the Inferno skeleton. I actually retrofitted it with some LED strip in it, so I can synchronize this guy to the rest of the show. And then we got the OG Skelly over here. He's over there holding the Tune 2 sign. He's actually wired up with some RGB floodlights that are synchronized in the show, and it gives a really cool kind of glowy effect in there, very punchy. Those look really cool. Another set of props that we added were those spiders up there. Those are also 3D printed. Very cool prop. You can run a lot of effects on there, and gives another cool focal point to the all the sequences and the various songs. Here I added another addition. Is a basically a push to listen button. Followed one of the guys in the hobby on his design, and you can actually find that out on YouTube. I might put a link here in the description of the person's design. But basically, for the the fall here, temperature's still good, so people are out walking in the neighborhood and might not necessarily be in the car to listen to the music for the show. So when they're outside, they can just come up here, press the button, and it's got basically a timer on it that lets the sound run under these speakers down here, these waterproof speakers, and let them listen to the show. And I basically put that in before in the past, my first year, with my Christmas show. I just had a Bluetooth speaker that I would put out here. It wasn't waterproof or anything, but I put it out here as weather permitted and just had the sound always playing, and just kind of be courteous to the neighbors and whatnot, and just not have music just playing all the time. This allows it to run. Somebody walks away after so long, it'll just cut the music off and the show can just continue to run, but it's not disturbing the neighbors with the sound. But pretty cool design there with that, and I'm happy the way that turned out. Here, as we move inside, we're kind of in the command central for the show. And when I say that, just kind of where everything gets built and thought of in here. We got the 3D printer running here, already printing some props here for Christmas. So that'll be cool, something to kind of look at for next year. But the reason I really brought you in here is for this other piece of the show. It's the FM transmitter. So this allows me to play that music over the airwaves. Basically, I go and find and scan for a vacant radio station in my area, and then there's a stereo cable that runs from that main FPP player, the K8 in the front yard, all the way up to here. And this broadcasts that a signal just here in the local area, just really a few hundred feet here in the neighborhood. But it works out well. Here, as we move inside, we're kind of in the command central for the show. And when I say that, just kind of where everything gets built and thought of in here. We got the 3D printer running here, already printing some props here for Christmas. So that'll be cool, something to kind of look at for next year. But the reason I really brought you in here is for this other piece of the show. It's the FM transmitter. So this allows me to play that music over the airwaves. Basically, I go and find and scan for a vacant radio station in my area, and then there's a stereo cable that runs from that main FPP player, the K8 in the front yard, all the way up to here. And this broadcasts that a signal just here in the local area, just really a few hundred feet here in the neighborhood. But it works out well. And that'll pretty much do it for the walkthrough of the behind the scenes of D-Lights. It was pretty cool to be able to show you guys how this all works. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. Leave them down there in the comments, and we'll talk to you soon.